guys, it's Cimorelli. Welcome to my personal channel. You probably know me from my main channel, Cimorelli, the band I'm in with my sisters. This is my personal one. I talk more about like pregnancy and motherhood mostly on this one, but you know, sometimes we talk about other stuff. So today I'm doing a very highly requested video. I talked about some of this stuff on Instagram and you guys were like, please tell us more. I got so many messages. So I'm like, okay, I'm making a whole video about this. Don't worry, here I am. I jumped right on it. So we're gonna be talking about how I'm staying fit during pregnancy, all things I'm doing basically to get the baby in position and reduce the pregnancy pain. All of that preparation, stuff that I've put so much time into researching. So let me tell you why this is really incredibly important and why this is like huge goals of mine. Here's the journey. So I was pregnant for the first time 2 years ago with Barrett. I did not really exercise. Tell me why I didn't then, and now I have a child, a toddler running around, and I exercise now regularly, almost every day of the week. Tell me why. I was just like, oh, I can't get the motivation. I'll just lay in bed. Now I don't have that option. I can't lay in bed. So I exercise regularly now, praise the Lord, since like middle of the second trimester, I want to say. And so last time I didn't really exercise that much. I just went on walks and I was so weak after I gave birth. I was like, this is horrible. Next time, I don't want this to, I'm not letting this happen again. A huge goal was born in that moment. I was like, I'm not doing this again. I'm gonna stay fit and strong next pregnancy, and I'm gonna come into postpartum way stronger than this, because this is just not what I want. It was miserable, to be honest. It was not good. So, number one, huge goal. Number two, I started getting pain like right away, like in the first trimester this time, and that was just not it. It was freaking me out, because then I was like, wait, if I'm already in pain, I'm just gonna get worse. How am I gonna survive the third trimester? So I realized like, I definitely have to take this seriously and do everything I can to get my body in a good place, in the best place it can be. Number three, I had a C-section with Barrett, emergency C-section, and I have a huge, like biggest goal ever for me of having a VBAC, vaginal birth after C-section. It's my biggest like dream goal. Like I want it so bad. So I'm just doing everything I possibly can to know that I did everything that I could. I put myself in the best position, whatever happens, happens, but I wanna know I did everything to get myself a vaginal birth, and therefore that is why I took exercise and all these other things I'm gonna tell you, stretches, mobility stuff, learning, researching, blah, 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 way more seriously this time than last time. I just know so much more this time as well. And then finally, baby's position. So every time I would get ultrasounds, she has been breech, and Barrett, that didn't happen with him. I mean, up until like into the third trimester, she's still breech. And I was like, I know that's not the biggest deal all the time, but Barrett wasn't like that. So that was making me a little nervous. And when I would go to the chiropractor several weeks ago before, every time I would go, she'd be like, your hips are really uneven. Like every time she would do this thing to check. And I was like, I think things are really not how they should be. I think I need to take this more seriously with like positioning stuff. So I'm gonna tell you, everything I did, everything I'm doing, let's jump into that. Number one, we're gonna talk about exercise. I'm doing a whole video on exercise, so I'm not gonna go into that too much in detail here. So you need to watch that video. The whole video on exercise and staying fit in pregnancy will be up like right after this, I believe. So stay tuned for that. I'm doing a whole video on it. So when I got really serious about my workouts, it was somewhere in the second trimester, I got really serious. I was like, I have to take this seriously. I got all these goals, we gotta take it seriously. I noticed a huge change in my life. It made my life just so much easier. I was stronger, my pain started to lessen, just overall quality of life so much better. And I felt so empowered. Every time I do my workout, I'm like, look how pregnant I am. And I'm just doing my workout. It feels so empowering. So exercise, also my doctor told me this, exercise is a major key. I've had multiple doctors say this because I have seen multiple doctors this pregnancy, that exercise is one of the top things they recommend for someone going for a VBAC or just a vaginal birth in general. They said there's like some science studies, whatever, evidence behind the fact that women who are more active and who are exercising consistently have a better chance of vaginal birth, allegedly. That's what my doctor said, multiple different ones. So just saying. So I was like, okay, that has to be a really top priority for me. So that brings me to like stretches and mobility exercises. I learned a lot about the pelvis and surrounding areas, pelvic floor, all this different stuff from many things, many people, whatever. And basically I learned that you want to keep things mobile, flexible, strong, and also certain things relaxed, like pelvic floor. You want to keep things working how they're supposed to work. If everything's just like stiff and just like you just sit your whole pregnancy, you don't really do much walking or exercising or stretching of things, and then you're going into this birth where all of this stuff is happening inside, and your baby has to do all these different maneuvers that your body's doing, whatever, and then come on out the birth canal, but then things are just like, we've been sitting in one place for 9 months. It doesn't seem like you're putting yourself in the most optimal position to give birth. So that is where I'm coming from when I'm like, okay, I do all this stuff. So what am I doing? So I also did tell my coach on Copilot to add some of this stuff to my daily stuff, which is some spinning baby stuff, was just like things she already, let me tell you what spinning babies is, but it was stuff that my coach already she had already added some of the stuff without me telling her, because she just knew it was good for pregnancy, which was awesome. Like windmills. I don't know if they were called that when she added them, but it was the same movement. So Spinning Babies is a website that talks about like things to get your baby in position. It's just like stretches and like positions for labor and stuff like that. So I was all over Spinning Babies, and I got their daily essentials video and I incorporated that. Like I said, I asked my coach to incorporate some of that into our daily stuff, and then other stuff that was not really an exercise thing, I added in after I would do the Copilot workout, like inversions where you're on the couch and then you like put your hands on the ground and your head on the ground. It's kind of like a headstand, but it's not a headstand because you're still sitting on the couch and your head is on the ground. Look all these things up. Talk to your doctor. My doctor recommended all this kind of different, my new doctor, he's really like, he recommends more of like a holistic approach, which I love. And yes, he's on board with this stuff. Anyway, Spinning Babies, one of the biggest things, especially I got messages from you guys who had breech babies. Spinning Babies. Just search Spinning Babies, breech, whatever. There are a bunch of videos on YouTube. You can read the articles on their website. Lots of stuff you can do. One of the biggest things I think though, besides those, is what you're doing every day. This is a huge change that I made. Huge change. So I heard this before in pregnancy and I was just like, whatever, who cares? But then seeing my baby head or breech all the time made me reconsider basically, and the pain I was in made me reconsider. And I had a huge like pain transformation, and my baby went head down. So I'm gonna tell you what I'm talking about. How do you do daily tasks, things that you do every day, like sitting, standing, holding your baby if you have one, picking things up? I think those are the specific things that I'm going to talk about. Yes, this is so important. When I heard this before, I was just like, I don't care. It matters. I changed these things and it changed how I felt like drastically. So sitting, number one, not rounding your back all the time and sitting back like this. Ouch, that even kind of hurts. We tend to like slouch and sit back all the time. When you are sitting back all the time, it's encouraging the baby to not be in a good position. You can look this up and read all about it. It is not what you want. You want to be sitting up, which I have a pillow underneath me right now, like on the back, to help make it easier. I always have pillows behind me on the couch. I will often like lean forward onto my legs with my back straight, by the way, not like rounded over. I'm not really ever rounding my back in my daily activities. That's kind of something I'm avoiding. I'm always sitting up or like leaning slightly over with my back still straight, like on a pillow with pillows behind me. I'm using a lot of pillows. This was annoying at first. I was like, I just want to sit. Actually, you know how I was sitting at first? First of all, I was either just slouching or I was bending one leg and having one leg like this. And it was always this leg. And you know what happened? I had really bad sciatic nerve pain. Okay? I went to see well, I didn't really go to see her. I knew a massage therapist who's amazing. And she told me her mom had really bad sciatic nerve pain as well on one side. And she said it was from her sitting like this all the time. And I was like, that's what I've been doing. So she massaged out my incredibly painful muscles and everything. And she told me I gotta stop doing that, which I already knew, like, I gotta stop doing that. So I completely resolved I will stop doing that. And I basically did stop doing it. I shoot for like 80 to 90% of the time to do these things. I'll go into more in a second. But yeah, sitting. Keeping things symmetrical. You don't want to be having one leg bent, leaning to one side, leaning into one hip. We really want to avoid that with like everything we're doing. So that goes with holding a baby. Holding it on one hip, holding the other hand, like sticking your hip out. If you must do that, I've heard people say do it on the other side like equally, but try not to. I try to hold it more with my arms and less with my hips, and my core I use more, and it's been working. It took time. When you start doing these things, so when I started sitting up straight all the time, my back was so tired and sore, and it was like really a challenge. So when you start doing these things, you're gonna be tired, you're gonna be sore, it's gonna be like, I can't do this, I don't have the muscles. But trust me, if you make a goal like, let me change this like 50% of the time or a third of the time and then work my way up. So let's see, if I'm sitting today 20 different times, can I just do this like 5 times? Yes, you can. Just start small if you need to, but it's just really, I'm just telling you, it's really important. After I changed all these things, my pain was drastically reduced and the baby went head down. Could be coincidence, I don't know, but I don't think it was personally, because I noticed such a shift. And I would even feel her move into different positions when I would move. So I don't know, it's stuff you can do, it doesn't hurt, it's great. Overall, I just feel so much better. So even just for that, totally worth it. Okay, so sitting, standing, holding your baby, well, standing, leaning into one hip, just not standing symmetrically. I can't really teach all this. You need to look, I'm just telling you to look up a bunch of it yourself. Look up like standing with a neutral pelvis. I'm telling you stuff to look up, that will be helpful, okay? So yeah, sitting, standing, picking things up, especially if you have a toddler or kids, this really applies. Don't bend over and round your back all the time. Don't do that. Squat, hinge, look up a hip hinge. It's where you bend forward, but you keep your back like straight. I do this all the time. Once again, when I first started it, I was pretty sore. I was like, man, this hurts. I'm using all these muscles I never use, but keep going at it and you'll feel strong and accomplished later soon enough. And then it's like, okay, I can just squat down. I can just go over, and my back is it's so much stronger. I noticed a huge difference from leaning over the crib to like get Barrett. I was like leaning over for a while at one point when he was sick, like before this in the second trimester. And I was like, oh, my back hurts so much. I can't do this that long. And then he was not sick anymore. So I wasn't doing that long anymore, like sitting there, like trying to comfort him. And then like 6 weeks later, maybe, I don't know, after really focusing on this stuff, he got sick again, or something happened, teething, I think it was teething. And I was like leaning over the crib for like a long amount of time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not sore at all. This is so much easier. I am so much stronger. And I have such a heavier baby also that is like putting the weight on me as I'm leaning over. I was like so proud of myself that I could like have a tangible like moment of seeing how much stronger I was. So those things are so important. Don't write them off like I did and be like, oh, it doesn't matter. It does matter. It really matters. I'm telling you, it really matters. It's really important. It does matter. That is one of the main things I'm going to tell you, because it's stuff you do all the time, every day. Oh, how you sleep. That's another thing. And you can look this up as well, like optimal positions for sleeping, for getting baby in position and blah, blah, blah. On my side, normally they suggest like your left side more than your right. And with like a big pillow between my knees and my ankles to keep them like level, I guess. Look it up. I'm not gonna give all the specifics. I'm just telling you guys things to look up. And there's another way to do it as well, where you like go forward more and your other leg straight, but look it up. I sleep like that. It's great. It's working. How you sleep matters as well. Okay, so I've seen a lot of different professionals, and you don't have to see all these people, but if you can see some of them, it might be a good idea. Chiropractor, for me, you have to find one, well, I would suggest finding one that's, I believe, Webster certified. That's a specific like technique for pregnancy. I see a chiropractor every like few weeks. These people can just be such different prices. I've seen one who was like triple the price of her and did these long sessions, but this one does shorter ones, and she's way more affordable, and I really like the results so far. So I regularly see a chiropractor. Number 2, I see a pelvic floor physical therapist. I just highly recommend this. Seeing one and just getting an evaluation of what is up with your pelvic floor. I just think all women need to do this, just period, regardless. Where are you with your pelvic floor? What is up with it? What do they recommend? You can not even see them that many times, but they'll give you recommendations, and then you can move forward and do those things. I see her pretty regularly, and we work on different things. For me, it's about relaxing my pelvic floor, and she helps me with all other stuff too, like the SI joint pain and other pain that I have. She has like just amazing insight into lots of things. My doctor recommended trying acupuncture. He's like, we don't really know why, but he's seen a lot of great results from his patients trying acupuncture. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to. I think like next week or the week after. He told me a good place where it's a very affordable price that he likes, so I'm going to try that out. I have not tried that, but I'm going to try it. We'll see what happens. I mentioned earlier I got a massage. A massage was very, very, very helpful. Once again, you got to find great, talented people to do all these things, because if you see anyone for any of these things who's just not that good, you're not going to get that good of results. Okay, so I'm doing the classic eating dates and drinking red raspberry leaf tea. If you don't know anything about that, you gotta look them up. I'm not gonna give you recommendations, you gotta talk to your doctor, but look it up, talk to your doctor, blah, blah, blah. I did this last time as well, and I don't know, dates are supposed to help. I can't remember all the reasons. Whenever I research things, I like find the reasons, I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me, and then I forget all the reasons, and I just basically focus on and write down like what the action to take was. So then when I go back and try to explain it, I'm like, I know I read all about it and it made perfect sense to me, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense, but I don't remember any of the reasons. But I think for dates, and they're supposed to help with your cervix, and I did have a very favorable cervix last pregnancy when I did this. At like 36 weeks, it was dilating and starting to be effaced and blah, 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 whatever. So I think the dates helped. I don't know. I started them earlier because I knew I was going to be induced early last time. Anyway, long story. So yeah, red raspberry leaf tea, dates. I'm not going to tell you how much to do. You got to look that up, but look it up, see what you think. There is evidence behind at least the dates. I can't remember for the tea, but I've seen like anecdotal evidence that was interesting to me for the tea, and I like the tea, and it's like good for you anyway. It has like benefits anyway, so it seems like a win-win to me, but you do have to be careful. You have to look up when to do this. You have to be careful. Don't just start doing something randomly. Talk to your doctor and look it up. Very important. And then tons of education in the form of podcasts, courses, Instagram accounts with professionals sharing lots of wisdom on there. Oftentimes they will have a course that you can take. I love the VBAC Link podcast. That is such an informational podcast and really inspiring and motivational. I love listening to it. It's really fun, but it's just very helpful and educational as well. I've learned so much from it. And then courses, I haven't taken all the ones I want to take yet. I just got the VBAC Link one actually. So I will tell you guys about courses at the end, either after I give birth or like at the very end of the third trimester, like which ones I recommend and what I thought was like the best, but I haven't finished them yet. I was kind of waiting to get a little later to do some of them. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but I'm gonna be doing them in the next couple weeks. So hopefully it's a good idea. I am reading a hypnobirthing book. I'm audio reading it, listening to an Audible. I will let you know if I recommend that book at the end. I'm pretty sure I do because I read most of it last time and I thought it was great, but that was 2 years ago and I was a different person, okay? So I gotta see again. I will follow back up on that one. And then people always say it's like a mind game. Like the biggest, most important thing is your mind. To me, I would say it's your mind, your mindset, and then having knowledge so that when you have to make decisions, important decisions, you are aware of things about positioning your pelvis, things that you've heard from other stories. Like, oh, I remember, like I just heard one today, a podcast where she's talking about putting a towel under your back or your butt, I can't remember, if you have to be on your back pushing, and how helpful that is. It's like, oh, that's a good tip to know if I end up on my back for some reason, which I don't plan on being, but you know, who knows what could happen. So mindset wise, I have been reading so many positive birth stories, or just if the birth story is like negative, I like to look for what could I learn from it. Like, was there anything in there that maybe like went wrong or could have been done differently that I'm seeing that is intriguing that I should look into or whatever. But then I like to read positive ones and like watch them. And then the VBAC link is a bunch of birth stories. It's like really cool. And it often will be like a negative one and then a positive one. Not all the time, but a lot of the times it will start with a more negative story, which is what led to their C-section. Often will be a woman who's like first dissatisfied, obviously, because then she like wanted a VBAC after. They'll talk about things that went wrong with their doctor, the hospital, choices they made, whatever. And then they'll talk about things they learned and then things they want to do differently the next time, and then their VBAC story. And it's like pretty like triumphant, exciting thing to listen to. That's why I love it so much. So that for me, the VBAC link is like one of the things I think that's helping me the most, like with mindset, because I keep listening to all these stories and I keep learning all this stuff. Because I'll hear about different things I didn't know could happen in birth. And I think that is really helpful to me, because it's like, oh, okay, now I know that this thing could happen. How do they deal with it? What do they recommend? What do they learn from it? And then I like tuck that in the back of my mind, and I'll hear like that situation several times. Then I'll hear another new situation several times, and I'll just have all of these stories in my head. And I just think it puts me in a really good place. So I've listened to, I don't know how many episodes yet, if it's over 100 yet, because there are 100 and something episodes, but I've listened to almost all of them. I listen to at least one basically every day. Some days I listen to 3. Today I've listened to 3, but almost every day it's part of my routine. I go on a walk and I listen, so it's really awesome. Anyway, I think that is just about everything. Hopefully that's really helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know what else you want me to make videos about with pregnancy. My days are numbered, so let me know. Bye.